الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Today we begin, inshallah, our Hifz workshop. From among the many topics, there will be virtues and benefits, retention techniques, Hifz curriculum, 10 areas of Hifz, arts of memorization, mistake analysis, and Hifz pedagogy. Inshallah, our instructor for today's workshop will be Moulana Sayeed. Moulana Sayeed studied Qira'ah under Moulana Yusuf Darwan Sahib and other great scholars and graduated from Dewsbury from UK in 2006. He then went to study further at Al-Azhar University of Qahira for 1 year under many reputable teachers, including attaining ijazah from Sheikh Hassan Rajab. Moulana Sahib has also taught and managed many Islamic schools and makatib such as Al-Azhar Primary School, Al-Rahman Weekend School, Al-Atfal Maktab, Hifz Academy, Safar Academy, Imam Zakaria Academy, Good Maze Maktab, and he was also the head teacher of Akanji Foundation. He currently teaches and has been teaching in Madahirul Ulum London, which is an Islamic secondary school, for over a decade. He also runs workshops on many subjects locally and internationally under maktabtraining.com. So very briefly, today's whole entire program is being presented by Khayr Academy, which is an online institute who runs free courses for brothers, sisters, and children, and workshops for teachers. For more information on their courses, we can visit our message info@khayracademy.com. And Moulana Sayeed, on behalf of maktabtraining.com, which is a platform made to train maktab teachers in different subjects, who can be contacted using maktabtraining.com. And for any personal workshops for personal makatib and madaris, info@maktabtraining.com. Mesba, which is partnering with them today from America, is an organization run by scholars to assist makatib throughout the world in starting and advancing, to provide a structured, professional, high-quality maktab program for the Muslims of the Ummah. They can also be contacted at info@mesba.org. Without any delay, I would like to ask Moulana Sayeed Sahib to continue. I thank everyone for joining us today. Jazakumullahu khairan.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإنا له لحافظون وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الماهر بالقرآن مع السفرة الكرام البررة أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح. Respected teachers, head teachers, معلمون, معلمات, حفاظ, علماء, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Jazakallah for attending today's workshop on Hifz. In today's workshop, inshallah, we will be exploring many areas. Many areas, maybe areas where maybe we need support, we need help, inshallah. So from this workshop, inshallah, there will be different parts. There will be part one where we're exploring about the virtues and the benefits. Part two, retention techniques and Hifz curriculum. Part three, the art of memorization and mistake analysis. Part four, Hifz pedagogy and tracking. And part five, inshallah, we have a guest who will be coming at the end, and he will be speaking about National Huffaz Organization. So as I've said in the previous presentation, that today's workshop is a tadhkira and a mudhakara. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَذَكِّرُ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. That reminders are beneficial for the believers. So in part 1, we will be looking at the definition of hifz, the virtues and benefits of hifz, real life responsibility, the qualities of a hifz teacher, and different hifz arrangement. So we start with what is hifz and what is tahfidh. So hifz, we see it as memorizing, but in the dictionary and in the Qur'an, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the hifz means to protect. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Mu'minun, He says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَوَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. And in Surah Ma'arij, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. That the believers are those who protect their salah. So hifz, tahfidh means to protect. So a hafidh will mean a protector of the Qur'an, hamilul Qur'an, the person who holds the Qur'an. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is al-Hafiz. He is the original, He is the protector al-Haqiqi, the original, the ultimate protector. And in this word, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has made us as the ambassadors, special agent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, made us the sabab to protect. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need us. Ya ayyuhan nasu antumul fuqara'u ila Allah wallahu al-ghani. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of us. We are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we can see this Quran ayah in Surah Hijr, ayah number 9. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidhun. So there's two parts of this Quran ayah. The first part where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that indeed we have revealed a dhikr, the reminder, the Quran. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this Quran ayah, he is stating that munazzalun min Allah, the Quran is from me. And the second part of the Quran ayah, wa inna lahu lahafidhun, and indeed lahu, i.e. the Quran, lahafidhun, so indeed we will protect it, i.e. the Quran, lahafidhun, its protectors. So we will be its protectors, we will be protecting the Quran. And hafidhun in Arabic, it comes from ism fa'il, where there is continuity. So continuously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be protecting the Quran. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using us as Hifz teachers, as the facilitators of this program, and the Hifz student as the special agent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the summary of what is Hifz is that Hifz is every Hifz student, the special agent of Allah, protecting the Quran of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in Tafsir Baghawi, as the protection, from what protection? So in Tafsir Baghawi, it is written protection from shaitan, from any kind of alteration, from any addition, from any omission. And he quotes, لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه, that no falsehood can approach from the front or from the back, from any direction. تنزيل من حكيم حميد, that this is a revelation from the wise, the most worthy of praise. In other ayahs, Allah says, تنزيل من رب العالمين. On the next slide, we see the importance of hifz. In Surah Qamar, ayah number 17, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the Quran easy, لِلذِّكْر, for remember. And in tafsir, لِلذِّكْر, أي لِلتِّلَاوَة, for recitation, لِلْحِفْظ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the Quran easy for hifz, لِلْفَهْم الْمَعَانِ, to understand the meaning of the Quran, لِلتَّدَبُّر, for the reflection and ponder on the ayahs of the Quran. Then فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ, is there anyone who will be mindful? Ibn Kathir here says, فَهَلْ مِن مُتَذَكِّرٍ لِهَذَا الْقُرْآنِ, is there anyone who will take lesson from this Quran? And in Tafsir Qurtubi, which what I like, he writes in his Tafsir, he says, فَهَلْ مِن طَالِبٍ لِلْحِفْظِ فَيُعَانَ عَلَيْهِ, is there a student of knowledge who will memorize, who will do Hifz, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help him. Then we see the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha, and this riwayah, mainly we know it as the riwayah of Muslim, and it comes in the Kutub al-Fada'il, the books of virtues, as al-Mahiru bil-Qur'an, that the person who is expert, proficient, well-versed in the Qur'an. And this is the riwayah of Bukhari. مثل الذي يقرأ القرآن, the one who reads the Qur'an, وهو حافظ له, and he is master in Hifz, he is proficient in his Hafiz. He will be مع السفرة الكرام البررة, he will be in the company of the most righteous, noble angels who are scribes. So this is one part of the hadith. Then we look at the second part of the hadith, وَمَثَلُ الَّذِي يَقْرَأُ الْقُرْآنِ, and the one who recites the Qur'an, وَهُوَ يَتَعَاهَدُهُ, and at the same time he memorizes it in his heart, but وَهُوَ عَلَيْهِ شَدِيدٌ, he finds it difficult. And in a riwayah of Muslim is written that وَهُوَ عَلَيْهِ شَاقٌ, that he endures difficulty. فَلَهُ أَجْرَانِ, that he will have two rewards, one for reading the Quran and one is for the effort of the Quran. Now imagine the Hafiz who is expert, he's well-versed in the Quran, and as an expert, well-versed, Imam Nawawi as Mahir bil Quran, he says, Al-Kamilul Hifz, that he's perfectionist in his Hifz, Alladhi La yutawaqqafu alayhi, so there's no hesitation, he doesn't get stuck, he doesn't stop. And then further he says, وَلَا يُشْتَدُّ عَلَيْهِ الْقِرَاءَةِ, and qira'ah is easy upon the mahir, and لِجَوْدَةِ حِفْظِهِ وَإِتْقَانِهِ, for his high quality hifz and for his mastering techniques in hifz. In this hadith, we can see there's two parts. In the first part, we can see the one who reads the Quran and he's a master. So this part we can put it to our experienced Hifz students, the high level of Hifz students. Second part we can put it in students who are new to Hifz, they need the support. So in this hadith we can already see differentiation, that in a Hifz class you will have the high level Hifz students and you will have the low level Hifz students. So there's the narration in Muslim and narration of Bukhari. As I mentioned Bukhari, I just remember my Ustad Shaykh al-Hadith, who's just Shaykh al-Hadith Mufti Musli'uddin, the Bukhari teacher of Institute of Islamic Education, Dewsbury, just passed away last Monday. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate his rank. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him Jannatul Firdaus, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give his family sabr jameel. So we move on further, we look at, explore other hadith, so virtues and benefits. So when we look at all the hadith regarding the Quran, mainly you will look at three main aspects: the person who reads the Quran, the person who applies the knowledge of the Quran, and then you'll find that the person who does Hifz of the Quran. So tilawa, recitation, 10 rewards for every letter is the hadith of Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. He states, Man qara'a harfan min kitabillah, whosoever reads one letter from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, falahu bi hasana, that there is one reward, and each reward is multiplied by 10. Then the next hadith, intercessor for his reciter, is the hadith of Abu Umama al-Bahili in Sahih al-Muslim, where he says, اقرأوا القرآن فإنه يأتي يوم القيامة شفيعا لأصحابه. That read the Quran, verily the Quran will come as an intercessor for the person on the day of judgment. The Quran will come become your lawyer on the day of judgment, your solicitor in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Quran will take you to Jannah. Then we look at Hifz, the excelling status in Jannah. Anyone with videos, can you please share your videos, as it will affect my presentation. Excellent status in Jannah is the hadith of Amr ibn As, Abdullah Abdullah ibn al-Amr, Abdullah ibn al-Amr radiallahu an in Tirmidhi, where he says, يُقَالُ لِصَاحِبِ الْقُرْآنِ, the person who's devoted to Qur'an, he will be said, اقرأ وارتقي ورتل كما كنت ترتل في الدنيا, that read and ascend, and warattil, and read with tartil as you would do, read with tartil in this world. فإن منزلتك عند آخر آية تقرأ بها, that your abode, your final abode is on the last ayah you read. So we can see the status of a Hafidh. And then there's another hadith which does not specify if it is for Hifz or if it's for Tilawa, is the hadith of مثل المؤمن الذي يقرأ القرآن مثل الأترجة, that the mu'min, the believer who reads the Quran, is the example of the citrus fruit. ريحها طيب وطعمها طيب. The riha, the fragrance is pleasant and the taste is pleasant. So as Hifz teachers, as people see us, our taste should be pleasant. That people meet us, see us, everything is pleasant. And at the same time, the effect it has, the contagious Hifz effect. So when people see us, they can take the contagious effect of the Hifz, the way the Prophet ﷺ says, uturujja, of the citrus fruit. So now we look at qualities of a Hifz teacher. There are many, many qualities. I myself, I've been teaching Hifz for 13 years, and mashallah, there are fantastic Hifz teachers out there, 20 years, 30 years. There are well-structured Hifz class out there. So these are some qualities I've just presented, but it does not mean it's all the qualities. So first, we look at that any Hifz teacher should have the Qur'an connection. The Daur, his Hifz is very strong. At the same time, the applying on the Qur'an, amal on the Qur'an connection, kana khuluquhu al-Qur'an. That the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his akhlaq and his character was the Qur'an. So first, Qur'an connection. Then Sunnah in our life, having the prophetic Sunnah, being a role model in their class and in society. Is not that we just have it and we're not a role model. No, as I told you, mathlul utrujja, we like the citrus fruit. Then the next quality, professional. Professional is being just. Inna Allah ya'muru bil adl, just in the Hifz class. Okay, ihsan, doing everything at the highest level. And in my previous presentation, I said professional is simple word. Just think that you are presenting this class, your Hifz class, in front of all the parents, or just in front of the media, in front of a jalsa. How would you be as a ustad? Are you going to change anything, or are you going to be the same? So think that in every Hifz class or in any class, that someone is the head teacher or someone is watching us. How would we conduct this class? So this is what I call professional. Then we look at in the next row, management. Management, there's behavior management and classroom management. Behavior management is all about creating a safe environment in the class, having firm principles in the class. The students, they know what will happen if they do Mesba. And classroom management is about managing, coming on time, listening, tracking, communication with parents. All of that will come under classroom management. Then we look at validity of Hifz. In validity of Hifz, there's a separate slide coming up. Where is our Hifz? As we are listening, is that correct? How correct is that? How sound is that? How do you know that that is valid or not? Okay, so that's the validity of Hifz. I request again, anybody with videos, can you shut your video, please? It'll affect my presentation. So a separate slide is coming for validity of Hifz. Then we look at Tajweed. Tajweed, the Quran can't be separated from Tajweed. Okay, so as a Hifz teacher, we need to have the Tajweed. If there is any deficiency in Tajweed, we need to see if there's a training available within the madrasa, within the mosque, CPD. It's always good to read to a sheikh, listen to YouTube, listen to Minshawi, listen to Husari. Then we go to the last row where is about the techniques, differentiation and feedback. Techniques is, as Hifz teachers, we are giving something to the children every day. We are giving them new techniques of memorizing. And there's a separate slide for techniques. Differentiation, Differentiation, again, is education for all, that every single student in the class gets your education. So a separate slide is coming, like differentiation by support, differentiation by pace, and inshallah we'll explain that. And then lastly, feedback. As Hifz teachers, at the end, we need to give the student constructive feedback where the next day they come in and they can make themselves better. So some qualities I've mentioned, that I haven't mentioned all the qualities. Whatever, as I've mentioned in my previous presentation, that here with Khayr Academy, maktabtraining.com, Mesba, we're not telling everyone, oh, this is what you have to do. MashaAllah, everyone is doing in UK fantastic Hifz job, where making Hafidh, and at the same time providing Hafidh to around Europe and around the world. So now we look at we will have different dynamics, arrangement, setup of the Hifz class. Every Hifz class won't be the same. Okay, so we have a Hifz class in boarding school where students, they stay there and they do the Hifz. Then we might have local Hifz class where students go in the morning, maybe after Fajr or 6 o'clock, and they do evening Hifz as well, 5 to 8. At the same time, they're doing the national curriculum in state school. Then you might have a Hifz class in Islamic school with national curriculum. There might be a booster class, Takran. Then you might have just part-time evening Hifz class, 5 to 8 or 5 to 7, just evening Hifz class. Then you might have part Hifz, part Maktab, part Hifz, where in a Quran class, some students are doing Hifz. It might be the Maktab is not big enough, they can't facilitate a Hifz class, but some of the students in the Quran class, they're doing Hifz. That is part Maktab, part Hifz. Then there might be some students doing one-to-one with private tutor, or with the local imam, where they're just going in their own time and reading with the imam. And then there might be teens and adults Hifz class. And then finally, there might be online, and there might be other arrangements. But my message here is that every arrangement, the dynamics will change. It will differentiate. So whatever works for you, whatever your madrasa gives you, their policy, their principles, you need to apply that and make it the best. And if you can take any advice from your, any intervention or creativity, inshallah, add it to your own madrasa policy. So we end this first part with a small riddle. The riddle is Hifz plus Qur'an equals all of these places. And this slide here, we can motivate our students by saying, look, we've already been through the Quran and Hadith, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us in the Akhirah. However, in this world, but when you memorize the Quran, imagine you are born here, Allah will take you to New York doing Taraweeh, free of charge, everything, paid ticket. Over there you get to stay. Or if you're in another country, you come to London to do Taraweeh, or in Italy, or Tokyo, in Japan, or Sydney, or different parts of the world. These are myself and other colleagues where we've been in different parts of the world. Just this is the barakah of the Quran. That if you are sincere, then the Quran will take you to the four corners of the world, inshallah. And this is how we can motivate our own students. That look, if you do your Hifz, Allah will take you around the world, inshallah. Part 2, we look at retention techniques, pre-Hifz structure, Hifz curriculum, Makharij, Tajweed, juz amount, and level. So we'll start with retention techniques, and these are 13 techniques, some which on a daily basis the students are doing, or you as a teacher, you're doing, and some are intervention and creativity. So number 1 is repetition. So by takrar, إذا تكرر تقرر. So takrar is repeating, and there's a psychology of behaviorism where you repeat the behavior again and again and again, and until oops, there's a small disturbance there. So repetition, verbal repetition is just repeating ayah again and again and again and again and again. Then you have repetition through audio where you listen to the ayah again and again and again. And then written repetition in some countries where they write the Quran as they're doing Hifz, it could be repetition through writing. Then we look at the next part, which is the linking bandage technique. Linking bandage technique is you have one line, so one line of the Qur'an or one ayah of the Qur'an, where this part, just one announcement. This presentation is solely for teachers. So if there are any students or someone has given the details to a student or a thing, can you please tell them to, because this we are having a disturbance. So previously we haven't had this disturbance. Okay, so linking bandage. So linking A with B. So you have one ayah where you repeat it, use the first method, then you go to line number 2 and you repeat it again. But then there's a bandage where you repeat A with B together and you do that same process. Then you get the line number C, you repeat it, then you bandage in a bandage process. And the benefit is, like, let me give you an example. If I said 1 at 1, easily you can say 2. So that, think that is line number 1. If I said 2 at 2, someone can say easily that is 4. But what if I just said what's 1 at 2 at 3 at 4? Spontaneously, can someone just say, oh, it's 10? Or do you have to add it? Then, okay, 1 at 2 is 3, and then 3 at 4 is 7. Therefore, when I join it together, when I put a bandage equals 10. So this is the linking bandage technique. The next one, number 3, is testing, self-testing. As you repeat, you can test yourself, or you can tell someone else to test you. Number 4, first words. So first word of the ayah in the Qur'an, when you know the first part of the ayah, it gives a hint, a booster of the rest of the ayah. In Taraweeh as well, sometimes what happens is when someone gets stuck, you say the first part of the ayah, and then the rest of the ayah comes in automatically. Number 5, the rhyme. In the Qur'an is a mu'jiza and a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, like example, وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى. And I've noticed that where there's a rhyme is more easy to remember. So we need to, as a Hifz teachers, we can tell the student, look, is rhyming. Can you see the rhyming sequence? Association, number 6, is if there is association. So if there is ayah, so إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, one part, and then there's إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ on another part, okay? So as you learn إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, at the top, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, at the bottom automatically will be memorized. So you associate, see, okay, if there's one word here, I've memorized that. If it comes again in the page, then that means I've memorized that as well. So that's called association. Tune support is through the tune, it supports the learning. So let me give an example here is Qari Abdul Basit. If you remember, everyone remembers Khayrul Laka min al-Ula. Why does everyone remember Ula? Well, that's the tune you remember. Same with Mahir. Someone might remember the part where he stretches the deen. Malik Yawmiddin, that part. Or Shuraim, someone might remember the Nasta'in part, because that's his unique tune where he uses there. So we remember that tune, but through that tune we remember that part. Then we have number 8 is the black cab taxi. In London, if you want to be a black cab taxi driver, you need to know the knowledge, and the knowledge is you need to know 325 routes, you need to know 25,000 roads, and 20,000 points of interest, like a post office, school, train station, or landmarks like Tower of London, like the Tower Bridge, the London Eye. Okay, so we have. So let's look at in a Sabaq. In a Sabaq, one is if you tell a student, okay, learn the entire page, you might think, oh, entire page, but then you can put points of interest. Okay, on the end of this ayah, there's a point of interest there. There's a point of interest there. So make different points of. So a black cab driver, if it was to learn 20, they memorize the streets of London, like his class. So if they were to memorize 50 streets, they don't just learn 1 to 50. They put points of interest. So from A to B, if there's 50 streets in between, they will say, okay, after 5 streets or 10 streets, there's a school there. And after another 5 or 10 streets, there's a college there, or there's a train station. So like this, after every 5 streets or 10 streets, there's a point of interest. So when we know the point of interest, Hifz becomes easy. And at the same time, Tajweed becomes a point of interest is a natural point of interest and is a miracle. Remember, this Tajweed is a natural point of the mud is coming somewhere. Remember, that's a point of interest. Some gunna ikhfa is coming. That is a point of it. So it's a natural point of interest if you understand black cab taxi driver. Then we move on to number 9, which is a mathematical word count. So innal insana lafi khusr. So sometimes students, what they do, they can count the words. Okay, how many words coming there, or a sequence. So sequence could be, or okay, first Azim comes, then Alim comes, then Muhin comes. So you remember, look, Azim comes first, then Alim comes, then Muhin comes. So you can tell them, look, in this 3 hours, remember the sequence. Meaning, pondering on the meaning, like sometimes when you mention the meaning, it becomes easy, especially areas where there's mistakes, like yuhibbu, la yuhibbu. If you just tell them, look, yuhibbu means Allah loves, la yuhibbu, Allah does not love or does not like, then it becomes easy. Number 11, divide parts is any sabaq or any Daur, you divide it into different parts and then you join it together. Okay, so divide parts and then construct. Applied is when you bring it into amal, you act upon it in real life. Okay, what the Sahabas done, every ayah they learned, they applied upon it, and that's it, is never gone. And you can teach it to others at the same time. So for adults, this one applied, and the number 10 and number 12 with adults, inshallah, if there's adult Hifz class, they can use that. Spot the difference. Number 13 is you listen to your own Qur'an, and at home you listen to another Qari, preferably Minshawi or Husari, and then you check the difference. So spot the difference. Remember, there's a game and you can check, spot the difference. So similarly, your recitation and the Qari's recitation, and you check the difference, and then you can mark your own mistakes, find your own mistakes. Okay, green area are the no everyday, it happens in a Hifz thing. So the green area is every day, you'll see it takes place in a normal Hifz class. Repetition, linking, testing, these are the things that it works. And the other ones, the blue areas, they are like intervention and creativity. It won't fit in all the time. Sometimes it'll work. No, it won't work with all the students. Okay, now this part, inshallah, I will be going quite quickly. Inshallah, it'll be riwayatan. Some of the slides will be quite quick. Riwayatan, some will be dirayatan, will be more explanation. This here is our Hifz class is in an Islamic school. So the juz are not to scale. Remember, I'm not putting the juz here to tell people or follow this. These juz are just, there is a template, is not to scale. As I told you, in the arrangement of all the Hifz class, everyone will have the different syllabus, different curriculum. So do not take this slide as, oh, these are the juz. This is just an example, okay? So first we have pre-Hifz, where before Hifz class, the initial Hifz class, there could be another class where they are getting ready to do Hifz, and you are doing diagnostic assessment to check if he's ready for Hifz or not, okay? That you can call it the first year, okay? Then you have the second year, which is the initial Hifz year. That's a second year where the 7 juz. Third year, which is the second year of the initial Hifz, is the 9 juz. And the fourth year, which is the initial third year of the Hifz, will be 11 juz and is finished. So if it was in a Islamic school, pre-Hifz would be year 7, second year would be year 8, third year will be year 9, and fourth year will be year 10. By year 10, they're finished. So when they're in year 11, they can concentrate on the GCSEs, and at the same time, they can do revision of the Qur'an. So these slides, I will quickly go through it without any explanation, without much explanation. So in any pre-Hifz, there's 10 steps. If you follow, you can get a student from 0 to hero, inshallah. Number 1, 2 weeks, you can concentrate on the Makharij, theoretical Makharij and practical Makharij, okay? Then step 2, you can have like a crash course, Qaida course. You make your own crash course, Qaida, but do not say that someone is doing you are doing Qaida, because you'll demoralize the student doing Qaida. What you can do is just photocopy Qaida, put it in another booklet, and just give it a name. We call it the Bridge to Quran Part 1. Do like around 6 weeks where you go through the fluency rules. Then number 3, Tajweed theory and practical Bridge to Quran. we call it British Quran Part 2, is where you go through the Tajweed theory and practical. That could take about 2 weeks. And then step number 4, Tajweed implementation on Juzamma. So now the Tajweed they've learned, now you are implementing it on Juzamma, and at the same time you're checking the number 1 and number 2. 5 and 6 is from the beginning to the until now. You're doing group mashq. So together as a whole class, you're doing the group learning. So everyone is listening from the Ustad directly, as the Sahabas done it from the Prophet. And then you have Tanzil.net, which is a Quran navigator. They listen to Minshawi and Husari. These will be like within 3 to 4 months, you've done all the first 6 steps. Then you go to the blue area. The blue area is now where you're giving them ZPD, Zone of Proximal Development of Vygotsky theory, where you are, one student is doing Nadra, doesn't know Hifz, and then you have another experienced Hifz student. What's that middle area? So you're giving them the middle area. Step number 7 is Hifz Nadra skills. What that means is Nadra ala tartib al-Hifz. So Nadra ala tartib al-Hifz means a student now, he will do Sabaq para Daur, but looking inside. Sabaq para Daur, looking inside Nadra. So the only skill he doesn't have at this moment is doing by heart. So he might read all of Juzamma or all of first Juz, but he's going to give Sabaq para Daur looking inside, because he's learning how to give Sabaq para Daur, but he's looking inside. So that will be number 7. Number 8, now after doing that 1 Juz, start memorizing Juzamma, and then carry on with Nadra ala tartib al-Hifz, and then carry on with step 9 with more Juz, and then after they've completed their target for the year, you can have a stop. You can stop them, and then just tell them to carry on with tartib Nadra ala tartib al-Hifz, where they do Sabaq para Daur, and I'll explain that inshallah in later slides if you don't understand what Sabaq para Daur is, as we use different terms in different maktabs and different madrasas. Inshallah. So in any pre-Hifz, at the beginning you will go through all the Makharij, and the Makharij, the easy Azhari, in Azhar University, shortcut they teach Makharij is start with the lips. Okay, so you have Ba, Mim, Waw, both lips, then one lip, Fa, then go to the throat, Hamza, Ha, Ain, Ha, Ghain, Kha. Okay, then you go to the Jawf, emptiness of the mouth, then do the Ghunna. So you've done 4 areas there: lips, throat, emptiness of the mouth, and then you've done the nose. And then lastly, tongue is the most difficult. Go to the tongue right at the end. Start from the back part of the tongue and then move forward. So start with the Qaf, then Kaf, then do the Qad, then go to Tarful Lisan, Lam, Nun, Ra, then go to Ra'sul Lisan, Za, Sin, Sad, then Ra'sul Lisan with Thana Ulya, you have Ta, Dal, Ta, and then you have Ta, Dal, Wa. Okay, that's an easy tartib, but this is a presentation itself. And then we have the crash course Qaida here. But if you check the Qaida presentation, part 1, I've done an explanation of this, the green area, yellow area, and the red area. And I won't go in details in this presentation. Just check the Qaida presentation, inshallah. And then we have the Tajweed equation. So Tajweed equation is easy to remember, rather than saying the full what is the example, what is ikhfa. So say after Nun Sakin or Tanween, if the 15 letters of ikhfa comes in, then you do light sound or nasal sound. Then instead you say Nun Sakin / Tanween plus 15 letters equals ikhfa. Nun Sakin / Tanween plus 6 throat letters equals izhar. If I go to Mim Sakina, Mim Sakin plus Ba equals ikhfa. Mim Sakin plus Mim equals idgham. Mim Sakin plus do a bit of mathematical skills, bracket, minus Mim and Ba equals idhar. With the mudud, stretching letters plus Hamza plus same word equals Madda Muttasil. Stretching letters plus Hamza in a different word equals Munfasil. Stretching letters plus Sukun or permanent Sukun or Tashdid equals Madda Lazim. And stretching letters plus temporary Sukun, that where you do Waqf and it becomes Sukun, that becomes Madda Arid. This way the student, they've learned the Mutun, the Matn of the Tajweed rules, and at the same time you've linked it with national curriculum, with the maths. So is you creating the mathematical skills at the same time. So this you can show evidence. We're still in pre-Hifz, by the way. So here is a photocopy of the Quran, where a teacher photocopies the Quran and the student here has colored the Quran. This is not a color-coded Quran. The student here is showing the Ustad, look, I know my Tajweed rules. I've colored every single Tajweed rule with a different color. And Hifz, pre-Hifz, as we see, it starts with the learner driver. No one from the first day and the learner driver goes to the motorway. Motorway is the where we want to take them, the Julkai to motorway. But from pre-Hifz, it's not that we're going to put them straight over there. If you remember the hadith again, and as we're doing this hadith in a Muslim, in Sahih al-Muslim, our Ustad Moulana Yusuf Darwan said, he even explained that as the Prophet was saying, it's even difficult to say. It's quite difficult to say that word. So at the beginning, it'll be difficult, but as inshallah, you motivate the students, you give them different techniques, you'll see your student from the side roads will go to the main roads. And then this will be like a scheme of work, or will be like a Hifz curriculum, or could be a syllabus. As I told you before, again, like a disclaimer, this is not, I'm not showing here, this is what you have to do. This is just a template example. Copy this, put your own stuff in it, how your madrasa would run, and do it something like this. So this will be the first year, 3 Juz in UK. Our academic year starts with September and it ends in July. And then there is all the full description there. Then you have the second year where the student might do, as I told you, different madrasas, and arrangement will differentiate, okay? So it'll be the 4th, 5th, 6th Juz. Then after like first 5 Juz, you need to do a real Hifz reality check, where there's an assessment really seeing that if this student can really do the marathon of Hifz. One is 100 meters. 100 meters, anyone can do it. But Hifz, the 30 Juz, is a 30 miles marathon of 30 Juz. Can he really run the 30 miles? So we need to do a Hifz reality check, and then move the student on if he can do it, 9th Juz, 10th Juz. So pre-Hifz year, maybe he done 3 Juz, but in this main first Hifz year, he's completed altogether 10 Juz. Then we move on to the next year, the 3rd year, which in the Hifz class is the 2nd year. It does the 11th, 12th, 13th, the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. At the same time, can you see at the bottom, there's levels. Students like this, because in the national curriculum subject, they have levels as well. So we're giving matching levels of GCSEs. Then the 4th year is where they finish, but that in the Hifz, that's the 3rd year, where they finish all 30 Juz. And then we have the 5th year where they're doing Daur, or Muraja'a, revision of the entire Qur'an. And there has to be a system where the student is, even when he leaves, he's still carrying on, because he's your student, you're the role model, he's your product. Okay, so you need to have a system where he's coming, even if he goes college, university. In a normal Darul Uloom, they have a system in the Alim class. The student would come from Alim class lesson and read one of the lesson, read the Daur, but that there has to be a system. So khulasa and the summary is pre-Hifz first year, 3 Juz. As I told you, this is just a template. Make your own syllabus and own curriculum up. Level 1 to 5, you can have this level 1 to 5. 2nd year, 7 Juz, level 6. 3rd year, 9 Juz, level 7. 4th year is when they are finishing, and the 5th year is when they're doing the Daur. And then you can have a display as well at the same time. So you can have a display in your madrasa, in your school, in your maktab, where you've put all the Juz of the Qur'an, put how many pages it's got. And this is the South African print of 13 lines. Okay, this was done many years ago. Need to revise this, but each year, yellow is the first year, the orange is the next year, and then the next year, and blue in the next year, and green is the final year. It's color coded as looking at the slides before, but this is a display. The student can see this on the wall and see, yeah, I want to do it. So we end this part 2 with a quick riddle of 2022 Qatar Olympic lines countdown. So the yellow is the pre-Hifz year, where they have a countdown. Okay, I need to end of the year, I need to learn 1,134 lines of the South African print of 13 lines. So each day, as I'm learning my Sabaq, the lines are getting decreased, is a countdown. So the next year 2,548, the next year 3,276, and the final year 4,204. And you can see there's a progression there from the numbers, from 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000, 4,000. It shows progression. This part 3 After part 3, we'll have a break of 1 or 2 minutes, inshallah, and then will be a part 4, and then we will have our guest from National Foundation. Part 3 is we look at Sabaq, previous Sabaq Daur, then we look at 10 areas of Hifz, the function of the brain, how it affects our Hifz, mistake analyzer, average checker, types of differentiation, validity of Hifz, is Sahih, is it Da'if, is it Hasan, quality versus quantity. So first, let's look at Sabaq, Sabaq para Daur. Now, different arrangements have different names. So we have a Hifz group. In the Hifz, I asked everyone, what do people call it? So mashallah, people gave their contribution. So Sabaq, some people, some maktab madrasa might call it new lesson. Some people might call it Dars Jadid. Some people might call it lesson. Some people might just call it Jadid. Some people might call it Hifz Jadid. Previous Sabaq might be called as Sabaq Para, Janbu Sabaq, Jamb as Qarib, Jambu Sabaq, Muraja'a, Muraja'a Jadid, it could be called as Qarib, could be called as lesson review, Sabaqi or Sabaq Daur. Daur, which is Arabic Dara Yaduru Dauran, okay, is a revision, Muraja'a, Mukhta is a Farsi word, Muraja'a Qadim, Just Ba'id, review, Manzil. Then you have different madrasa where they have Daur 1, they have Daur 2. Then when you finish the juz, there's Parador or juz test, the end of the thing where you go to another ustad. But these are different terms in different arrangements. Then we look at the purpose of Sabaq, previous Sabaq and Daur. So Sabaq, the purpose is where you encode the information. Okay, this is where there's the input of information and is going to the brain. That's called encoding information. Purpose of Sabaq is certification of the Ustad. The Ustad is giving a certificate that, okay, your Sabaq has been vetted, it has been checked, okay? It's not that you just learned it and that's, you know, there's a certification of the Ustad. Purpose of Sabaq is as a total Hifz, it increases. So it's like a goal in a striker's position. And then a purpose of Sabaq is a continuous construction. So imagine there was a building work. If the building work stopped, the construction work has stopped. So it's continuous construction. And lastly, Sabaq is all about maintaining their retention techniques. So as a student learns his Sabaq, he is at the same time mastering all the different retention techniques. What's the purpose of previous Sabaq? Purpose of previous Sabaq is, if you remember in Sabaq, the information were encoded. Now, in previous Sabaq, he is demonstrating that in the previous Sabaq, the information he just encoded, that can, he has the storage, that is still there. He has the retention of the information which he encoded in Sabaq, and that works. So that is one of the purpose of previous Sabaq. Another purpose is to clear mistakes. So in Sabaq, there were mistakes. Now in previous Sabaq, he's got a second chance to clear the mistake. Sabaq is a vaccine, Astra, Pfizer vaccine for Daur. That the moment you a previous Sabaq, you know that very soon this will go into Daur, is the next step. A previous Sabaq is the glue, the bridge. It takes the Sabaq, the bridge, it takes it to the Daur. So there's fluency in there and there is confidence. And then also we have previous Sabaq as the foundation. So previous Sabaq is the foundation. So you have a foundation. If the previous Sabaq is good enough, I tell the student, to put the next Sabaq is easy. If the previous Sabaq is weak, I would not listen to the next Sabaq because the foundation of the previous Sabaq is already weak. Sort the previous Sabaq out until you listen to the next Sabaq. And as I said before, there are many outstanding Hifz teachers who are doing great job, who are the impact, even without all of this thing, are producing, mashallah, brilliant Huffaz. Purpose of Daur, consolidation, which is the main purpose of a Hifz, is it goes back to the Daur, and it is vaccine for the future life. They're doing Daur now, but it's a vaccine, it's a Pfizer vaccine or Astra for the rest of the life that they can keep it. Then Daur also is a foundation for the previous Sabaq, because on top of the Daur foundation, the previous Sabaq will go, on top of that, the Sabaq will go. Daur is all about maintaining a system, because every day they're reading different quarters or different half or different juz. So they're maintaining a system, then bringing confidence, overall confidence to Hifz. And lastly, going back to the memory, As I told you, in Sabaq, it's all about encoding input. In previous Sabaq, it was retention of the storage. And in Daur, you demonstrate that that information could be retrieved at any moment or any time, that you can always retrieve it. Okay, so these are the some purposes. There might be other purposes as well, but this, here and there in the class, we can let the student know that why are you learning Sabaq, why are you learning previous, why are you learning Daur, so they know the purpose. 10 areas of Hifz progress. Sometimes in the Hifz class, maybe we are just concentrating on the above 5 everyday external skills, but what about internal skills? So in a Hifz class on a daily basis, you might observe 5 areas. Number 1, Tajweed. Number 2, Nadhara. So if it's a pre-Hifz, Nadhara. If he is a experienced Hifz student, it might be fluency, that how good is his reading. Number 3, the quality and his quantity of his Sabaq. Number 4, the consistency of previous Sabaq and Daur. Is he reading every single day, Daur, previous Sabaq, Daur, previous Sabaq? And then correction of mistake. The student himself, he knows how to correct mistake, and there's a slide coming on the technique of correcting mistakes. So these are the 5 areas actually every day we observe, and we give feedback, we give marks. Then we have other internal qualities where we need to instill in the students, and that will these qualities will affect them in the future, and that is the real Hifz. Sometimes we're just concentrating on the above 5 area, but the real Hifz is missing. So in the real Hifz, we have other areas where memorization techniques, that every day we are giving them the techniques of retention. Self-reliance and independence is where the student doesn't need help from anybody, and no one has to tell the student, okay, learn your Sabaq, learn your Daur, learn your Hifz. Number 3 is responsibility and vision. So in responsibility vision is the student himself is a manager. Example, if it was a restaurant, the student himself is managing the cooks, the waiters, and the customers. So in a Hifz class, it'll be the Sabaq para, Daur, and he has a vision that this will help me in the future. Memorization techniques in a restaurant, it'll be like the recipe to cook the Sabaq, cook the previous Sabaq, cook the Daur. Number 4, in the 5 everyday internal skills at the bottom is effort and time management, where there is a timetable and the student knows, okay, there's a fixed timetable, this is when I have to sit at home and how many hours I have to sit, and putting the effort. And lastly, and also this will help them in the future, that a student will go early to in his job, he'll never be late, and he will know how to maintain time management. And lastly, behavior and character building, where the akhlaq, the ibadat, the taqwa, all of this comes in. So these are 10 areas of Hifz progress. In my class, when I do a report, I add all of these 10 areas, and then it's very easy to talk to the parents, because sometimes the above qualities doesn't match with the qualities at the bottom. A memory system function is where I remember our Ustad Moulana Yusuf Mamasab, who taught us Mantiq, Shara, Ta'zib, and he always used to talk about, you know, about Shaykh al-Hadith Anwar Shah Kashmir, rahimahullah, who had photographic memory, or the flash bulb memory. In one flash, you remember everything. And in Mantiq, the memory we learned in Madrasa was حصول صورة الشيء في العقل, okay, to capture a surah. So imagine if your brain was like a mirror. So the moment an apple comes in your mirror, you have the knowledge of that of the apple. So the brain is like a mirror. Or al-hadiru inda al-mudrik, that when it's present in the mudrik, which is a chip, which we might call it the hafidha. So when it comes to cognitive theorists, they look at it as the memory system function, and there's a reference at the bottom. You can check further details. As Hifz teachers, we need to have a mutala of the brain, because the Hifz, where is it going? It's going to the brain and the heart, okay? But look, some kind of mutala and research on the memory. So learning anything, first thing is the 5 senses, which are the sensory organs. Through the sensory organ, it goes to the sensory memory. Sensory memory is, as we're looking at something, hearing something for 1 second, we might remember something. From there, it goes to the short-term memory. Short-term memory, about 1 minute, 2 minutes. and there is a filtration where your brain doesn't want to take anything, it will take it out, you will forget. But if at this moment, if you repeat something, it goes to the short-term memory, and you repeat again and again, then it goes to the long-term memory. Long-term memory is your storage, your gigabyte. This is where we need to take the sabaq, and we take the sabaq all the way to the long-term memory and make the Daur strong. Hifz equations is easy way. You can tell the students, okay, at the beginning when they're doing pre-Hifz, they can write how to learn Sabaq, how to learn previous Sabaq, how to learn Daur. And I've just given one technique. There might be other different techniques of learning. Sabaq, imagine the minimum lines. So imagine the minimum line is 15 lines. Divide it by 3. So make it 5 lines, 5 lines, 5 lines. Each line times by 10. Each line times by 10. So repeat, 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 repeat. Then the next line, repeat, repeat. Then you use the bandage joining process 5 times. Then the next line, then join. Next line, join. Next line. After you've done 5 lines, leave the chunk. Go to the next 5 lines. So that would be the Sabaq method. Previous Sabaq, you can do the reverse order. So going back to the last Sabaq, then the Sabaq, then the Sabaq. If it's strong, you can do page by page. If it's not strong enough, each page can be divided into 2, and then the joining process. One part of the page, another part of the page, and then join it together. Another page, one part, another part, join it together. It's all about the bandage. Daur depends on the class and the ability, quarter, half, juz, 1 juz. But again, divide it into rukus, or in half of a ruku. If it's very weak, half of that ruku, and then use the joining process. And there's this coach in YouTube, his name is Jim Quick. He has this acronym of FAST: F for forget, A for act, S for state, and T for teach. The part I like is F for forget. F for forget is, sometimes, you know, students, they say, oh, Ustad, I know it. But you have to tell them, look, before you even learn something, think that you don't even know it. That's the level of learning we have to do it. You know, when I'm doing Tarawees, I look at it as juz, that this is a new juz to me. I don't look at it if I know it, if I don't know it. Forget what you've learned and do like a new. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you more creative ideas. Allah will bring creativity intervention. And if you are doing your old style from many years, then you will have your same style, and the times have moved on. There was a time when we done Hifz, there was no internet, there was no online game, there was no Netflix, there was no social media, but now we have all of these challenges. So what happens? So we need to look at all of these areas. Why is Daur important? We can see in this hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says, keep on reciting the Qur'an, keep on reciting the Qur'an, keep on reciting the Qur'an. You can say, I just repeated it 3 times. When you repeat 3 times the Prophet's method, inshallah, you remember this. Keep on reciting the Qur'an. And the example of the Qur'an is given of a camel. That if you don't do your Daur, the Qur'an will run away the way the camel will run away from where it's tied. Okay, so this is one hadith that we can tell our student. And then we give an example of a Daur drop test. Drop test is suddenly you just give a test. It's called a drop. You just drop a test. Every month you can have a drop test. So I've given a key here. 5 is excellent. So excellent, brilliant. 4 is good. 3 is average. 2 is needs improvement. 1 is concern. Red is regression, going down. Yellow is progression. So example, a student, Juz 1, in October, he completed that Juz, he got 5, so brilliant score. But as he went to December, February, March, May, end of the year, when you done a drop test, you see his level is going to 2. So now you know that's regression. As Ustad, what did we do? At the beginning, when he finished this Juz, it was a 5. End of the year, how did you go to 2? So we need to calculate that, okay? Or the yellow Juz 1, when he passed his Juz, it was a 3. Which was the lowest pass mark. It was a 3 average. End of the year, he done mehnat and he put effort on it and he took it to a 4. So you can see these. I've given different examples in your own time. You can check this. Next, we have mistake analyzer. Mistake analyzer, if you remember desert, just remember desert. DES, detection, explanation, solution. These are the main area any Hifz teacher should have: detection, explanation, solution. Detection, we like silence. Any moment we hear a mistake, straight away there's silence, there's a mistake. Secondly is explanation. You say what is right, what is wrong. and then you give solution. You give a solution in order that never ever he makes this mistake again. Let me give you one solution. When I'm listening to the second juz, a student gets mixed up with hududallah, hududullah, hududallah, hududullah. So I tell him, simple solution. If tilka comes, it'll be hududul. Tilka dul. If tilka doesn't come, then it'll be dal. That's one solution. Or if he doesn't understand that, I just tell him, look, on that page, it goes like that. Dal, dal, dul, dal, dal, dul. It comes hududal, hududal, hududul. Hududal, hududal, hududul. Or another solution, another in the first juz, could be a student getting mixed up with musaddiq al musaddiqul. So I've told him, look, if min indillah comes, it'll be musaddiqul. If min indillah doesn't come, it'll be musaddiqal. Still doesn't understand. Okay, let's give another solution. I told him, look, if in the South African Quran 13, I told him, if it comes at the top of the page or bottom of the page, it'll be musaddiqal. If it comes in the middle, because musaddiqul comes in the middle of the page, then it'll be musaddiqul. So easy solution. Some students continuously, they keep on making mistake. So there's a carpet washer. What you need to do is when we clean our own carpet, what do we do? If there's stains somewhere, okay, we need to get a spray, clean the stains first. Similarly, this is what you're going to do in the rest of the part. Supervision of the mistakes. Okay, so you check where the stains are. Tell him to put effort. So now he needs to rub that mistake. Then he has to revise all the mistakes, and then you can test. So sometimes what you can do, if a student has a lot of mistakes, before he goes to a juz test or he finishes that juz test, you can tell him, look, I'm going to listen to all of your mistakes from the beginning to the end. How many mistakes you have? You have to come to me and read all your mistakes, wrong way and right way. This is where supervision, effort, revision, and testing comes in. So if someone is just doing DES, which is just washing the carpet, is not enough. Sometimes students make a mistake again and again and again. You have to take them to the version where there's a vanish, where you are putting the spray and he's cleaning and you listening to the mistakes. Mistake priority level, there will be first level 1, you can't tolerate it in Hifz because these are pre-Hifz mistake. Level 2, a bit of Tajweed mistakes where you can encourage them, you can give them techniques to implement. Level 3 are the mistakes where in alim class, in the high level alim class, when you do hadran, tadwiran with the ustad, you learn more techniques of tajweed. But these are the 3 different level of mistakes. Mean is the medium. So you have mean in maths. Students, they can check, okay, this is the mean, this is the average. So if it was lines of Sabaq, Monday to Friday, example, 5 days madrasa is 5 days of Sabaq. So each day, how much Sabaq do they need? Divide it by 5. Same thing with Daur. If they're giving quarters, half, 5 days, how much they read, and divide it by 5. Because if a student was missing 1 or 2 days or he didn't read, then when you divide it, you'll see the average Sabaq or average Daur. And there's a graph here. Imagine a student read 7 lines of Monday. This is pre-Hifz, 7 lines of Monday, Tuesday 10 lines, 13 lines on Wednesday, Thursday he learned 20 lines, on Friday 26 lines, but average you see it will be 15 lines. And if you had a grade 5 was 26 lines, G4 is grade 4, 18 lines, you can grade him at the same time. And then at the same time with average Daur and quantity grading, where you see that on Monday, half a juz, he read it well, mashallah, or 1 juz. On Tuesday, he was missing. Wednesday, again, he read half a juz. On Thursday, it was difficult, he only read quarter. On Friday, it's a half a juz. If you do average Daur, you can check how much he read on a daily basis. Here, this is an important one for, especially with students going to Islamic schools, and we need differentiation. And I think Hifz Ustad, they're the best at differentiation. So there's differentiation by outcome. By outcome will be at the end of the lesson, a student read 3 items, Sabaq para Daur, or he read 4 items, he gave double Daur, or maybe he just read Sabaq and Sabaq para, or just Daur and previous Sabaq. So that will be the outcome. Okay, differentiation by resource or text in a normal class will be easy resource with the pictures, or difficult resource, okay, with the high frequency words or text. So in a Hifz class, it'll be easy juz or difficult juz, easy ruku, difficult ruku, long ayah, short ayah, and it also could be the age level of the class at the same time. Is it a primary Hifz class, or is it a secondary Hifz class? Is it adult Hifz class? Differentiation by task is the could be the amount or the questions in a normal school class. But in Hifz class, it'll be the amount of sabaq is giving. Some student will give more sabaq, some will less, some will give more Daur, some student will give less Daur. Differentiation by dialogue is when you speak with the student. With primary student, you have to speak with easier words, slowly. So dialogue in a Hifz class could be that you listen to one student at a time. Some Hifz class could be, sometimes it could be 2 students, some Hifz class 3 students in one go. It could be the explanation. Some students you can just explain with ishara, they understand. Some students you have to give a detailed explanation. Differentiation by support, have extra booster class, support teacher, nadhara, and then we have differentiation by pace. Some will be coming first in the queue, some middle, some will be always hanging on the end of the queue, still learning their stuff. And then you have some who will need to read slowly in order to hear clearly. Some proficient or well-versed, they can read hadaran. Okay, so these are different differentiation. Validity of Hifz is, you know, as a teacher that your listening is valid. So first we go to the red area, you ask questions relating to learning. So relating to learning, you have time, effort. You can ask, okay, how much time did you spend, effort, behavior for learning, check, okay, how enthusiastic is it today, cue position, is it coming first or is it coming in the middle? So these are the checks you can do. Then as he's listening, you can check his quality, quantity of his Sabaq or Daur. You can check how good fluency, how good he knows it, how level of Tajweed. And then feedback, you can check that yesterday when I give him feedback, did he do amal and apply it? At the same time, have a balance of quality over quantity. So in a Hifz class, it's check quality and quantity has to have a balance. So we end this third part with a quiz of normal soccer or football, where there's fitness and training would be learning at home. Formation would be Sabaq wala Daur. Warm up just before the match, before the main activity, coming early to the class to practice. And performance throughout the 90 minutes is learning throughout the lesson. Inshallah, we'll have like a 1 or 2 minutes break here. And the last part will only be about 5 minutes, inshallah, 5 to 10 minutes max. By 50, I will finish and then I will give it to our guest, inshallah. Inshallah, we'll be going through it in 10 minutes and we'll be quite quick. At the beginning, I think there was a misunderstanding. This workshop is mainly for teachers, okay? Teachers, head teachers, maybe people gave it to the wrong people. There were some students coming in at the beginning, drawing, creativity. So inshallah, we'll start with part 4 now, inshallah. Part 4, 10 minutes, and we'll go to the end of our presentation, and then we have our guest, Qari Ishaq from National Hufaz Foundation. So in part 4, we look at point system, Hifz tracker, examples of Hifz, raising attainment, obstacles, reason for failure, competition, and display. Point system is something there to encourage, is motivation, is a thawab system. We have it already in Islam, thawab, the ajr, thawab. So you can give 5 for excellent. As I told you, this is just a template. Follow your own madrasa system, own policies, your head teachers is the best system. 4 for good, 3 for average, 2 for needs improvement, 1 for concern. But when you give the points, you can look at different areas to give the so as teachers, you can do mashwara, make your own system up. Fluency or support, does he know it? How well does he know it? Does he need the teacher's support? Mistakes and correction, okay, how many mistakes did he make? Was it another mistake? Was it a fluency a mistake? Okay, Tajweed, what was his level of Tajweed? Amount, was he is he a beginner student where he only read quarter or half, or is he someone doing Daur will learn 2 juz, 3 juz? So amount will have a effect. GPS, okay, global positioning system accuracy means someone, as he's reading, he's got his Google map on from the beginning to the end. He doesn't take any wrong turn. Okay, some student might go to another juz, but then come back again. So that's GPS accuracy, that it doesn't take any wrong turn on Google map. Level is he a beginner a student where his level is not as good as the high level, so you can differentiate there with the point system. And then number 7 is the item. Some ustads might be more strict on Daur giving points. Some previous Sabaq, some teachers might be lenient, or it could be the opposite way. So a lot of madrasas, their point system is based on mistakes. If it's 1 mistake or 2 mistakes, 3 mistakes. How I look at it is because the Qur'an is free from mistakes. So I will say mistake is there in the system, but it's not the main criteria of giving points. You can make your own criteria up. Then in our Islamic school, we use the Nasiha Hifz tracker, and we've taken permission to put it in our slide, where is a very nice tracker, and I've used it for since the beginning, where and you can make it color coded. So in my tracker, what I do is if they get 5, they use a green pen. If they get 4 or 3, they use blue pen. And if they get, I try to avoid giving 1 or 2. Okay, but if they do get it, then it's color coded, so parents can see. If it's all green, they know, mashallah. If it's blue, the average. There's a 1 red or 2, parents can see, or there's a red marks. Here we have an example of the Hifz. So in soccer in America, because we have our Mesba here audience here as well, football in England, growing up in British values, bringing this in an Islamic school would be British values. So if I make a poster here, football is British values. So the defenders, or the defense, okay, is the Daur. Midfielders are the previous Sabaq. They provide the ball to the Sabaq, which are the strikers. So you have 3 groups of players: the defenders, the Daur, midfielders, previous Sabaq, and the strikers, the Sabaq. So now we have a problem here. What's wrong? If we have 11 footballers, they're all strikers, 11 Messis. Or we have another problem, or just Sabaq, okay? Or another problem is 11 players with just defenders. They're all just defense. There's no midfielders. So there has to be a balance between defenders, midfielders, strikers. Similarly, a balance between Daur, previous Sabaq, and then looking at the differentiation, all the types of differentiation, all of the raising attainment, teacher meeting, weekly meeting, or 2 weeks or monthly meeting, to check the students of concern, contacting parents, takrar classes, extra booster classes. You can even have other support teachers, teaching assistants. Obstacles for Hifz is areas where it can reduce the Hifz. The level of a Hifz could be reduced. So we have in the middle, we have shaitan. With shaitan, we have our nafs and desires and the sins, the dhunub. At the same time, now generation, they have the online games. Okay, they might have the Roblox and the Rocket League. Internet, at the same time, it affects TV, Netflix. All of this has an effect on their Hifz, which our time in the 80s, 90s, we didn't have all of the obstacles. So our time, we could become a Hafiz in 1 year. Most it was 2 years. And nowadays, that length has increased. These are areas where I've seen, I could be wrong, where I've seen, if you notice this, there is a diagnosis. Just remember that this student is now going downhill. First one is early start. Early start is the student was not ready for Hifz. He's not ready for the match. He was a boxing heavyweight match, but he was not ready. He's still there, and you put him in Hifz. So he's another student, you put him, that's early start. He was not ready for that match, you put him, that's early start. It will have an effect. Misjudgment, there is a judging between the parents saying, oh no, my son can do Hifz, Ustad is saying he can't do Hifz. So there is like a judgment basis where parents said, no, put him in Hifz. But you as a teacher know that that criteria is not met for Hifz. So then you'll know that slowly a time will come, there might be a decline. Relaxed environment at home. There's no only the student in his own room, he's reading, everyone else, they're not reading, they're watching, they're doing other things. Bad companion is he started Hifz well, but he got a companion in school or somewhere else where he started staying with him, and then now it's affecting his Hifz. No timetable at home, no time to sleep, wake up, coming late in class. Then immature means it doesn't have the responsibility, the manager level of Hifz, how to manage Sabaq, previous Sabaq, Daur. One day giving Sabaq, one day Daur is immature in the management of the Hifz. Low pressure, a student might be very good in his Hifz, but slowly he's going to so many other booster class, karate class, is going to swimming class and all these other class, extra booster class for 7, but is having an effect on his Hifz. And slowly he says, Ustad, I can't take it because I've got so many other things. And then he loses the Hifz. Lost interest, as students say, Ustad, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't have no more interest in this. He can't be bothered anymore. Parents want it, but student doesn't want it. Discourages a student. Maybe he's got friends or family members or cousins where others say, why are you becoming Hafiz? I'm doing something else. I'm becoming a solicitor, lawyer, whatever, and it's discouraged him. So these are simple diagnoses. If you realize, put it in the diary or put it in your assessment. And then we have another display here. This is again a British value. This is Silverstone in England, the Formula 1 racing track. You can put it as British values if you have an Islamic school, and you can have the different thing. And MUL stands for our Islamic school, is called Madahirul Ulum London. Oops, next. Okay, you can have a Hifz League, again British values, name, juz, put the levels. And finally, the effects of Sabaq. If it's an excellent Sabaq, Sabaq will go to previous Sabaq. Previous Sabaq becomes excellent. Previous Sabaq will become the juz. The juz will become the Daur, and finally become Hafidh. If at the beginning we didn't do the validity of the Hifz properly, Sabaq became poor. Ustad gave a tick. That next day will become poor Sabaq. At that moment, the Ustad didn't check, okay, the previous Sabaq became poor now. He didn't take any intervention, anything. So it become a poor juz. That carries on, it'll become poor Daur and then become poor Hafiz. And you can reverse this as well. The effects of good Daur will be good Daur equals so good Daur equals good previous Sabaq, good previous Sabaq equals good Sabaq, and good Sabaq equals good learning. So you can reverse this and make it the effects of good Daur. And this is the last slide, where what did we learn today? Different colors are different part. Part 1, the red area, we learned what is Hifz, Tahfidh. We looked at the Qur'aan, inna nahnu nazzalna dhikr, virtues, benefits of Hifz, real life responsibilities, going to different places for Taraweehs, qualities of a Hifz teacher, Hifz, different arrangement. Part 2, we looked at pre-Hifz to get a student from zero to hero, looked at the Hifz curriculum, Makharijul Tajweed, retention techniques, amount and levels, the green area, the 10 areas of progress. 5 we observe every day, 5 are internal skills. The how to learn Sabaq para Daur, the different terms used for it, the memory system, al-hadiru inda al-mudrik, how to analyze mistake and give the correct solution, average checker, where the student can have extra activity where they can check, types of differentiation, validity of Hifz, quality and quantity have a balance. The last area, look at point system for the diary tracker, examples of Hifz with soccer, football, raising attainment, obstacles, the reason for failure, competition in Hifz, having a display. And to this, we come to the end of this Hifz. Jazakallahu khairan for listening attentively. If there's anything that I've said wrong or is misinformation, please forgive me for my shortcoming. If there's any slide that you do not understand, leave an email on info@maktabtraining.com, or our partners, info@khayracademy.com or info@mesba.com. Now, inshallah, we will have a guest, Qari Ishaq from National Hifz Foundation.
Jazakallahu khairan to our honorable instructor, Qari Moulana Sayeed. And we also show our gratitude and express our gratitude to our partners who hosted this program, specifically Khayr Academy and Mesba. And we show our gratitude and express our gratitude to all the participants who took out their valuable time to go through this presentation and workshop. May Allah Ta'ala accept it from all of us and make this a means of khayr and benefit and guidance for the entire ummah until the day of Qiyamah. Next, we have our guest, inshallah, who is Qari Ishaq. Qari Ishaq is the founder and director of the National Hufaz Association UK. He has studied Tajweed and Qira'ah in Egypt and Morocco, and is currently studying the Sab'a Qira'ah. He has authored the book called 365 Tips to Memorizing the Qur'an. He memorized the Quran at the age of 11, alhamdulillah. He also represented the UK in various international Quran competitions throughout the world in countries such as Egypt, Croatia, India, and Morocco. He is actively involved in organizing and judging Quran competitions across UK. He has also recently established the Qur'an Movement UK, which is an online platform aimed at involving youngsters and spreading the love of the Qur'an. Qari Ishaq.
Jazakallah khair. Can you hear me well?
Loud and clear.
Alhamdulillah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. قال رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي صدق الله العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, ulama kiram, youngsters, parents, etc., teachers, colleagues, thank you so much for the warm and kind invitation and introduction. And mashallah, I have been listening attentively to Moulana Sayeed, mashallah, who had delivered a very, I would say, the most comprehensive Hifz teaching webinar I've seen in a long time, mashallah. May Allah take Khayr Academy and maktabtraining.com from strength to strength. Alhamdulillah, very happy to be here, and I'm not going to take too much of your time, inshallah. And I would like to first of all by talking about a very exciting app we launched 2 years ago, which is called the Tahfidh Memorise app. As you can see on the screen, this is available on the Google Play or on the App Store. You can simply click on Tahfidh Memorise and you type it in and it will come up either on the Play Store or the App Store. It's available on both Android and Apple devices around the world. It's free to download. There are no ads whatsoever. We have hundreds of Hifz resources. We have a Hifz quiz, as you can see, weekly Hifz quiz which are updated. There are hundreds of Hifz tips, teaching tips. You can read the Qur'an in English, Arabic, and many translations. You can listen to over 250 reciters of the Qur'an. We also have a live, inshallah, Taraweeh link for Makkah and Medina coming this Ramadan as well, which is going to be updated every day, inshallah. So there's lots of platforms, lots of resources. Please do download, just type in Tahfidh Memorise app on Google and it'll come up, inshallah. And this is available to download for free. If you go to the next slide, inshallah. So this is a book, alhamdulillah, which I authored last year. It was published in April 2020. And alhamdulillah, we have sold over 4,000 copies worldwide. And alhamdulillah, many people have benefited from this book. We've sold the book in over 25 countries. And alhamdulillah, many Hifz students, teachers are benefiting from it as well. So what does this book involve? So I do have, obviously, the copy of the book in front of me. And this book is an amazing book. It really is your handbook for memorizing the Quran. The book is not aimed just for a Hifz student or a Hifz teacher or someone who is memorizing the Quran. It's for anyone that wants to memorize the Quran. The terminology, the words that are used are very user-friendly. It caters for a very wide range of audiences. There's daily tips, hence the name 365 tips to memorize the Quran. So on a daily basis, you can read through these tips. The tips are structured in such a way that they're not too long. So for example, if you can see my screen here, the tips are literally concise. Within a couple of lines, couple of sentences, there are many tips in this book to guide you. And there's a very interesting journey behind this book. So the reason why the book was written for many years, alhamdulillah, since I did my Hifz over 20 years ago, I realized that there was a very big demand for a book which allowed people to memorize the Quran. So this is basically my journey when I memorized the Quran and looking at all the challenges we faced as an organization for the last 5 or 6 years. And I've sort of put together the key tips that I believe will help someone in their memorization journey. So the contents are basically from the beginning to the end of a Hifz journey. So for example, section 1 is about preparation and intention. Section 2, inspirational advices from the past, the Sahaba, radiyallahu anhum, and many other examples of predecessors regarding Hifz and the Quran. Section 3 is about choosing the right school and teacher, again, catering for those who learn Hifz at home and privately as well. Section 4 is Tajweed, reflecting and correct recitation, which is a very important part of the Qur'an memorization journey. Section 5 goes on to a very interesting section, which talks about the diet, memory, and revision methods. Very interesting foods that you can eat that will help to increase your memory structure in your brain as well. Section 6 is utilizing support resources and technology. Obviously, this book was written just before COVID last year. So since then, so many technological advancements have been made, which inshallah, this book will cover some of those. Section 7 is Ramadan memorization tips. So there's 30 tips for Ramadan, which will help you in your Quran memorization journey. Section 8 is a beautiful selection of 30 Quranic du'as selected from the Quran, which will help you to, inshallah, hopefully get some more barakah in your memorization. And section 9 is life after memorizing the Quran, which I think is the most important section, because many people fail to understand the Quran memorization journey is not for the actual duration of your Hifz journey. It's for life. My Ustad said to me, may Allah give him a long life. He said to me, the easiest part is when you memorize the Quran, but the hardest part is when you have to retain what you've memorized every single day for the rest of your life. So the book is apt, is to the point, it's structured, as I just mentioned, it's concisely presented, it's carefully selected advices for all audiences. So it's not just for teachers, for students, for doctors, for lawyers, it's for anyone that wants to connect with the Quran, and it's a must-buy for anyone in the Quran memorization journey. The book is only £9.99, which is the retail price, and there are going to be some Ramadan discounts happening as well. I also like to mention, I noticed in your PowerPoint earlier, so we do stock this book as well, the Hifz record book, which is available on our website. So you can actually purchase these both as a bundle for £10.99 from our website, which is getmy365.co.uk. It's a special Ramadan price to purchase both. If you go to the next slide, inshallah, something which I wanted to share with you, which is an upcoming project, inshallah, which is hopefully going to be announced in Ramadan. So if you can go to the next slide, please, sorry. So this is the next book that I'm writing, which is called 365 Tips to Help You Teach the Quran. It's coming very soon, inshallah. We will be taking pre-orders for this book in Ramadan, inshallah. So within the next four or 5 weeks, we will be confirming where you can pre-order from. Inshallah, the aim of this book is to help teachers and parents. So two main audiences. We have noticed teachers and parents. A lot of what you've heard today in today's workshop will be included in this book. And this book is mainly targeted towards anyone who wants to teach the Quran. Even if you're someone who's a Hifz student, but maybe 5-10 years time you want to maybe teach the Quran, there's going to be visual learning, there's going to be space for you to write notes, to take notes, there's going to be tips, 365 tips, there's going to be very interesting aspects of this book which moves on from the 365 tips book. Currently the memorization book, so this book here is around 60 to 80 pages long. The teaching book will be probably double the size of that. We're looking at maybe between 150 to 200 pages. So it will be ideal for you to purchase, to pre-order, inshallah. And again, it's mainly aimed towards parents and teachers, those that want to teach their children the Quran. And when I did my research before I started writing this book, I noticed that there's the Safar Qaida, the An-Nasiha series, there's many Tajweed books, etc. around. But in terms of a guide to help a parent teach their child Quran, this book will be, I think, a game changer in the sense that it will give you daily motivation, tools, tips. There's going to be some sections on autism and children with learning SEND. Alhamdulillah, I've been a secondary school teacher for the last 10 years, and I work closely with children with special educational needs, so it will cater for that as well. It'll also cater for blind and deaf students as well. We've done lots of research around this area, so inshallah this book will definitely, I think, change and hopefully help many parents and teachers who wish to teach the Quran. And if you go to the next slide, just to talk to you a bit about what our work is. So alhamdulillah, I founded this organization in January 2016. Alhamdulillah, we have over 3,000 Huffaz registered with us around the world. We've held 4 national Qur'an competitions. We've had over 300 participants in our competition. We're the first ever organization to host the first ever UK females Qur'an competition. We, similar to Khayr Academy and maktabtraining.com, we have, mashallah, run over 20 or 30 Hifz training courses, Taraweeh training courses. We've worked with the Muslim Council of Britain. We've launched a Taraweeh at home training toolkit for last year for the COVID. We've worked closely with health organizations to deliver and to give advice when it comes to Taraweeh. And also we have, just like the Tahfidh app, many more resources coming out. We are a resource-based organization. So we are the one-stop shop for anyone that wants any help in the Quran memorization. You can follow us on Instagram at UK Huffaz. And you can go on our website, as you can see, www.ukhuffaz.org. And our organization can be summarized in 3 words: preserve. We want to preserve the beauty and the history of the Quran, and we want to protect the Quran by providing resources to help people connect with the Quran. And lastly, we wish to promote the Quran so Muslims and non-Muslims can be inspired by the words of the Quran. I would like to thank Al Khayr Institute Academy, maktabtraining.com, Mesba, etc., all the organizers for this fantastic initiative. I think we need to do more of these. We need to do more, hopefully, maybe one day or weekend training courses where you get international speakers from different backgrounds, inshallah, as well. And our support is always with you guys, mashallah, doing amazing work. I have been tuning in, and the resources that have been mentioned, that have been spoken about, as I mentioned earlier, probably one of the most detailed resources banks I've seen. And as you can see, if you want free adult and children courses, you can message info@khayracademy.com for maktab training as well, and info@maktabtraining.com. And for help in advancing and progressing your maktab, you can also contact info@mesba.org. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all for taking part, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. Please do check out the resources involved. And yeah, if you do want a copy of the book, as mentioned, get my365.co.uk. Please do check it out, inshallah. Keep me in your du'as, and inshallah, I hope to see you soon. I think we're now going to conclude with a short du'a, if that's okay, inshallah.
Yes, please.
اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تباركت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم أحسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها وأجرنا من خزي الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا واسعا وشفاء من كل داء. اللهم اجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا ونور صدورنا وجلاء أحزاننا وذهاب غمومنا وقائدنا وسائقنا إلى جناتك جنات النعيم. اللهم ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم بلغنا رمضان، اللهم بلغنا رمضان، اللهم بلغنا رمضان. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. Oh Allah, you're the most beneficent, most merciful, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, reward all the organizers, the volunteers, the tutors, the trainers, everyone who took part in preparing for tonight's webinar workshop. Oh Allah, bless them all. Oh Allah, all the attendees who joined in for maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes, however long they've joined in and maybe not stayed for the whole session, but anyone who has participated and tuned into the session, oh Allah, bless them all. Oh Allah, enable our children to be hafidh and hafidha of the Quran. Oh Allah, enable them to be ambassadors for the deen, Ya Allah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين.